Alicia King, and I really appreciate you tuning in today because I have a super important topic to talk with you about. I want to start off that maybe you've been driving around Camas, taking a kid to school, to the grocery store, running countless errands, and I'm wondering if you've seen any of the signs that say this. Don't give up. You are not alone. Your life matters. Your mistakes don't define you. There is hope, and comparison is the thief of joy. These sayings around town come from a tragic story, but we're here to share with you today that story and hope that we can bring inspiration, hope, change, and communication and a togetherness of our community. So I have Sheryl Stevens here today. You're my special guest.
Thank you.
I really, really appreciate you taking the time, first of all, to sit with me today and also to be open about this. This topic of suicide is on a lot of people's minds, and I'm sure it's very hard to talk about. So I really appreciate you opening up today.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you have quite a thing going here. It's called Camas Cares. And why don't you tell me a little bit about how this came to be, Sheryl?
Okay. Well, so we started, actually, our City Cares was
City Cares,
yeah,
right.
what we called it, but are anticipating that different communities will take on their city name. So Camas jumped right in as soon as we shared with them what we wanted to do, because a lot of people are concerned around the numbers of, specifically when we started, we were thinking teenage suicides, but it's really rampant in most age groups. And so after we lost our son in August of 2016, there was 3 others right in our community that 2 teenagers who took their lives, and then another woman. And we watched with great sadness how that affected the community, and saw, firsthand how one person's decision to do this, how much it hurt so many people. And it's a message that we just need to see, that this is a community problem. It's not an individual, it's not a family, it's much bigger than that. And so we began to just have a heart to see our community be united around this. And that's where our City Cares started fleshing out, because we are business people in the community. We wanted to unite business people, the churches, the city government, and
Well, yeah, I was going to say, so with your campaign, I mean, a lot of the stories, as you were saying, teenagers and young adults struggle a lot anyways, and can make rash decisions, and this seems to be a problem that's getting bigger. And we hear the stories, and we have kids in school, we have grandkids in school, it's our neighbors, and we hear of these suicides happening, and we want to know, what can we do to help? Talk a little bit more about how you're working with the schools and the city to spread the word and educate people and bring us together.
Okay, so we like to think of it as being ambassadors of hope, and we came up with messages, not all on our own. There's another movement that started in Newburgh, a signs movement called Don't Give Up. That's where I first saw the signs idea. And so we took the signs idea, and then we also wanted to see people united with services that they need, which is when we came up with our community information cards, and that give people the...
So you're talking about these right here.
Right.
Okay, so where are these information cards?
They're really all over, but the biggest percentage of them got printed and sent into all of the schools via the superintendent just taking that on once I sent him the idea.
We'll give that a shout out to Jeff right now.
Yeah, absolutely,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Snell.
Yeah. And then the mayor also got right on board
Right.
and said, yeah, we want to see these signs in downtown or wherever you want to put them. And he just said if they're on public parks, that we could do this. And you know, you don't see signs on school property or in public parks or downtown, and yet signs of hope, everybody could unite around that. And that was our hope, is that we could just unite a message of hope in the community, finding messages that we could all agree on regardless of what our beliefs are. This is a tragedy that we need to unite.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say what's on the flip side of the Camas Cares. It lists medical providers, counseling providers, and churches, and they're all local in our area. So right away, you have a resource. If you have a friend that's struggling, you're at school and you're hearing some things, you have a tool right there that you can use. And I love that. I love that. So you were talking to me. Oh, also, there is, tell me a little bit about this.
Okay, so those are our first responder cards, and they were approved to go onto our fire trucks, and we're hoping also into the police cars for first responders who are regularly called on for people that are in that time of suicide and are struggling. And so it's just another tool that we felt like it has the Clark County crisis phone number on it as well as the nationwide one. So you can be a unanimous no matter who you are. You can talk to someone that way, or not unanimous, that's not the word I meant.
Anonymous.
Anonymous, that's the word I meant.
It's okay.
That's okay. Anyway, and as well as, they can help connect you to local services as well. And that's one of the things is people, this is so, they make quick, rash decisions often, and they just need somebody to talk to. And my son had left to go to college. He felt alone, isolated, and afraid, even though he really wasn't. He could have picked up the phone. He could have, and actually he did, which is why it's been hard for a lot of people. He called some people, but then he still made a wrong choice. And, but what I'd like to help people identify is if they're having these feelings, and they're thinking they're alone, even though they're really not. They're connected. We are connected whether we want to be or not.
That's right.
Even people that feel alone and isolated are connected to somebody that would be hurt by their choice to not remain in hope and keep going. Everybody has a person who's depending on them to pull out of it.
Well, and I just hope that that's how we can come together as a community to support each other and help others feel that they're not alone. And I love how you're getting these resources out there because I think that's part of the solution. Let's talk a little bit about you're starting a year campaign. You're pairing up with the schools. Is that right?
That's correct. So we, after meeting with Jeff Snell, the superintendent of Camas, and the mayor, they saw quickly that this already united an idea they had around Camas Cares. So we've just united our ideas, and so they're going out, like on our Facebook page, Our City Cares, you'll see some, I call them ambassadors of hope, that
Awesome.
a bunch of the school district people went into different schools and took in messages of hope. Served hot cocoa to one school, and I think gave pencils to another. And it was, several of the district employees that people don't know. They wore Camas Cares shirts, and it's all just around this not wanting these kids and everyone to recognize they really are part of a community that cares.
Well, I think that's a great idea because sometimes there is, I'm speaking honestly, sometimes the upper school district people or the government people, there is kind of not a mesh with the school kids. The school kids don't look at that as a resource or a group that's there, cheering them on. So I think if you can bridge that gap with the students and the different roles in our school district and in our government, people can see that really our community is so tied together and that there are all kinds of people that care for you. You need to be able to reach out or see that a little bit and know that you can make that call.
Right. Well, I think that the other thing is that in truth, all of us have times when we feel like we want to give up or we feel like we're isolated or alone. But most of us are making the right decision. We're saying, we're going to stick with this. And that's really what I'm trying to unite, is that voice that says, what makes you keep going when you feel like you can't? And then also to those people that are struggling and hurting, is saying, it's okay to struggle. Reach out. Somebody cares. Somebody's been through what you've been through, and they can help you. There's rarely a situation that no one else has ever been through.
I know.
Yeah.
The key is you have to be able to open up, though, to know that a little bit too. And then you find, oh my gosh, you have that problem too, or you felt that way. And it's amazing to me. One thing I've learned in my time here as well is that everyone has a story.
Absolutely.
And so you think that someone's life is exactly this way and they must not struggle with anything when really we all have had a journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's story matters. And nobody's story is finished until it's really finished. And so you don't want to make a choice to finish it prematurely.
Right.
Because, you know, who doesn't love a comeback story? When you hear somebody that's really struggling and they say, hey, I made it through, doesn't it encourage all of us?
Right.
Well, that's what we really want, instead of being a person who gives up
Right.
and leaves that message. Because that, there isn't as many people making that choice. But let's talk about what makes us stay with it, keep going. And everybody's different, but I think that there is a lot of people that want that message out there.
Right.
So I just tried to come up with those messages of hope that everybody can agree on, and just unite everyone
Right.
around that.
Super inspiring, and
Thank you.
I think you're very brave for sharing your story and the story of your son, and I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Well, you know, it's the only thing that a mom in my situation can hope for, is something good could come out of this. And, you know, sometimes that's what pushes me forward, is maybe I have to help make something good happen out of it. And I'm okay with that. I think that's positive energy that I can move forward with. And so I want to make a difference that way.
Right. Well, I hope as a community out there you take on the challenge. When she said ambassadors of hope, that's not just me sitting here or her out there rallying, it's all of us coming together as a community. So if you think someone's in need or struggling, or you think maybe sharing your story that isn't that perfect sometime might help someone, then please, please stretch out of that comfort zone a little bit. I want to leave you with the mission statement, which I think is very powerful. It says, our City Cares campaigns exist to unite businesses, churches, nonprofits, city governments, and schools to combat the tragedy of suicide. Let's do it.
Yep, let's do it.
Let's do it.
What if something like this movement started in our community and went statewide, nationwide, wherever it needs to go?
Yeah.
What if it started in Camas? Pretty cool then, huh?
I love it. I love it. And I think if, in my mind, at times I like to see, you know, a whole shift in the world, but if there's one person that either watches this interview or is inspired by this story or moved by it or reaches out for help, then you're making a difference.
I hope
You're
so.
making a difference. Yeah.
I hope so.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is Just a Girl in Camas, Alicia King. Thank you.